You want to hear some music? You'd like that, wouldn't you? Well, today you're going to get all the music you want.
The request lines are now open. KGFJ Soul Radio.
Do it now, man.
Request lines are now.
It's open, man.
Got any Blue Oyster Cult?
No, I don't have any Blue Oyster Cult. I ate 34 pairs last time around. Where were you? I was that close to working at 7-Eleven, you know.
Pass the word along. Tell the men it's time to shoot the moon.
Shoot the moon!
Not out there on the microphone. On the microphone.
Shoot the moon. Shoot the moon.
The attitude dictates that you don't care whether she comes, stays, lays, or prays. I mean, whatever happens, your toes are still tapping.
Hey, Strawberry! Oh, Strawberry. Hey, what's happening, man? How you doing? This is my friend.
Hey, how you doing, man?
What you looking at, man?
Oh, nothing. I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking at his neck, man.
Can you honestly tell me that you forgot the magnetism of Robin Zander or the charisma of Rick Nielsen?
That's kid stuff.
Kid stuff. How about the tunes? I want you to want me. The Dream Police. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Build your muscles picking strawberries. You know, bend and stoop. Maybe I could get you a job with United Fruit. I got a buddy with United Fruit. Start with strawberries, you might work your way up to these goddamn bananas. When, boy, are you gonna get your act together?
We're creating a society of cell phone crazed, marijuana smoking zombies.
Coming to you not quite live from Lukewarm Tallboy Studios deep in the land of Gar, this is Bend and Scoop, the podcast featuring music, mirth, and minutia, focused on exposing artists you probably haven't heard, but should. I'm Bob, and I'll be your tour guide on this amazingly asymmetric auditory adventure as we journey to the center of your cochlea. Welcome to episode 40, which is approximately how many times the late great Casey Kasem would throw a profanity-laced tantrum during each recording session for his weekly hit countdown show. Joining us at the end of this show to play a round of Is That Your Vinyl Answer in the Groovin' After Party will be our very special guest, Scott Matula from the How Many podcast. We spread the gospel of vinyl here at Bend and Scoop, so be sure to tell us all about your favorite neighborhood record store by posting to @BendScoop on Twitter or Instagram using the hashtag SpinMomAndPop. Our record store of the week is Monkey Feet Music in Oklahoma City. You can follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Monkey Feet Music, and you can check out their website at monkeyfeetmusicokc.com. Let's head north of the border for some fresh sounds from Toronto, courtesy of Sam Coffey and the Iron Lungs, with this track off their new album, Real One. It's got a similar title to one of the biggest hits by their fellow countrymen, but it's just different enough to not be mistaken for a cover version. Here's Spirit of the Radio on Bend and Scoop.
I want you to know TV is on, nobody watching.
KTIM San Rafael. We've got hair on our transmitters.
Magic when the fawn strays from the forest, and the terror and the havoc when it wanders into traffic. The tragic conclusion of instincts and old habits up against the never-ending construction. Now there's a luxury apartment on the top floor of some high-rise building, and people go there every weekend to witness the abandoned ascension with the scraps on the shelf. He said it's not so heroic, yeah, he just wants to help. While we were fleeing the forest, she stopped and made a few calls. Got a spot at this penthouse with the window pane walls. Where some guy in fringe leather and a seafaring sweater is trying to peck at some peacock with significant feathers. And it looks like she's old enough to know a little better, but these people seem really open-minded. There were some dudes on the roof deck that were sitting with a sweet view of the sunset. They said you gotta meet the guy that gets the tab for this. Anything you want, he can cover it. When we showed him our hand stamps, he was smoking our nails. But pointed out the projection, a PowerPoint presentation of the chum and the shark. He said it's just a reminder, love will tear us apart. He started scratching at the itch that's been giving him fits since the prior procedure. Such a major modern tragedy. That's why I instituted this open door policy. But think about kicking off some new kind of family. I'm really glad that you're here. A statue to honor his ways and his words, while the rest of these martyrs got marched off to work through the weekend.
One of my favorites there, indie rock stalwarts The Hold Steady with The Prior Procedure from their brand new record Open Door Policy. My pal David Miller and I co-host a podcast called Plausible Deniability, with new episodes posted the first day of every month. On our latest episode, we talk about our experience with the brutal winter storm that recently knocked out power across Texas. You can follow Plausible Deniability on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Pause Deny. Here's a great band out of Chicago called The Rubs. No word on whether they have any future plans to go on tour with the Tugs. With this one off 2017's Impossible Dream called Amy on Bend and Scoop.
So far What are you in for?
I'll show you.
God damn it! Stop that! Oh, no, sir. No, not you.
That's terrific. Really. What's your name?
Jones. Larville Jones. Monsignor Larville Jones. M.D.
See you around, Monsignor.
Dr. Monsignor.
Milwaukee's The Shivers, with 2 V's there, from their remastered self-titled LP with Please Stand By. Have you ever wanted to host a podcast? Well, all you have to do to join the Mike Hunt and host your very own episode of Assume the Juxtaposition is send me your topic idea to lukewarmtallboy@gmail.com. You can follow Assume the Juxtaposition on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at AssumeTJPod. I recently stumbled onto this band with a fantastic name and an even more fantastic sound. Here's Boston's Muck and the Myers from their outstanding 2020 album Greetings from Muckingham Palace with Act Fast on Bend and Scoop.
You better act fast. Christmas deal's not gonna last. You better act fast. Christmas deal's not gonna last. Don't ask why she's decided to return. You better try
Have you been kept awake lately by shooting stars or bees buzzing on your windows? Do you suffer from governmental hemorrhoids, rashes of conformity, and fallen ankles? Have they been bringing you down? Well, don't suffer in misery any longer. You can dose these problems away with medicated K-Tim in San Rafael.
Separation Anxiety there by Ancient Shapes, aka the relentlessly prolific Daniel Romano, off 2019's A Flower That Wouldn't Bloom. He's kind of becoming Canada's version of Robert Pollard, isn't he? How Many is a podcast where I get together with my friends Jesse, Junior, Gary, and our special guest, Scott, to debate a variety of pop culture topics, including movies, sports, TV, music, and more. You can follow How Many on Twitter at HowManyPodcast and listen at HowManyPodcast.com. Raleigh, North Carolina is home to this next artist, Jack Cornell, whose new album, One In Wins, includes this catchy tune, Light the Fuse, here on Bend and Scoop.
Don't seem right. I think you'll find the presentation interesting as well as very, very stimulating. Could we have the lights turned down? Now, this first slide shows a very, very interesting thing. Our main building. In slide 2, we see another view of it. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. Let us look at this slide for a moment without comment. I think it speaks for itself. Would we have the lights, please? Well, I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me. Let's have lunch, shall we? And maybe smoke a cigarette?
Good speech.
The distinguishedly named John Wesley Coleman III, there with Shovel off 2017's Microwave Dreams. Campfire Songs is a podcast where I get together and share songs with my buddies Tom, Jim, and Todd. So be sure and follow us on Twitter at Songs Campfire and give us a listen for more great music. Don't forget to stick around for the end of the show when we'll be joined in the Groovin' After Party by our special guest Scott Matula from the How Many podcast. Hearty Har is an LA-based band featuring John Fogerty's Kids, whose brand new LP, Radio Astro contains this banger. Here's Calling You Out on Bend and Scoop.
Billy Carter, man on the move, president's brother, gas station owner, plays softball to win. Billy Carter is today's man. His home, Plains, Georgia. His beer, Stud and Stud Light. Billy Carter knows what he wants, and what he wants is another stud.
Can I have another beer, please?
Stud and Stud Light. The one beer to have when one's not enough.
Can I have another beer, please?
How can you walk away from my love? How can you turn around and leave me now? How can you walk away from my love? You may never find another love like mine. Baby, wake me up. never find another love like mine. You may never find another love like mine.
Great soulful sound on that one by John Paul Keith from Memphis, called How Can You Walk Away, from his new record, The Rhythm of the City. Remember to be sure and check out our Bend and Scoop Spotify playlist. If we played it and they have it, you can listen to it there. And if you enjoy listening to what we do here on Bend and Scoop, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. If I ever lose my job, I can think of a few viable options for a career change, but doubt that, given my age and physical condition, one of those would be the police academy.
Crime. The city was full of it.
Hey! Free TV!
Desperate measures were needed.
Want you to go to the police academy.
The police academy is such a dangerous place.
Honey, don't worry.
Desperate measures were taken.
I'm joining the police force! Ah!
The mayor says we have to take this riffraff.
I'm trapped here?
Well, yes. We all are.
What about guns? When do we get guns?
You will be schooled in firearms, police procedures, local laws, and many, many other things.
High-speed driving. And self-defense.
I need a volunteer.
That's me! I'd love to go.
Police Academy.
Where did you get this gun?
Mom gave it to me.
Mister, I am warning you, Hightower!
They're lean.
20, Roger.
Mean.
Does the radio bother you? 5. I can turn it down.
Obscene. Each and every one of them striving to defend.
You make me sick.
Thank you, sir. I make everybody sick. See the thighs.
Or offend.
Come on. I haven't got all day. The thighs.
And now that they're ready for the real world, crime is no longer the #1 problem. They are.
Can you get my kitty cat out of the tree?
No problem, ma'am.
Police Academy.
1, 2, you know what to do.
people listen to people. So listen, people.
Welcome to the Groovin' After Party. Come on in and pour yourself a cold one.
Joining me now for our Groovin' After Party here on Bend and Scoop is one of the co-hosts of the How Many podcast. Never heard of it. Scott Matula. Welcome, Scott.
Well, nice to be here, Bob.
I say that jokingly because I also am a participant in the shenanigans on How Many. But for those of our listeners who may not be familiar, Scott, why don't you tell us a little bit about How Many?
How Many? Well, How Many is a podcast about pop culture. Basically, it's 4 or 5 guys, depending on the group we have that day, sitting around and discussing how many of different things. How many songs does Elton John have? How many movies does John Carpenter have? Et cetera, et cetera. And it's a chance for us to sit around and shoot the bull and argue and discuss and, sing really, really bad karaoke.
Yes, that's an unfortunate byproduct of the podcast is our cohort juniors' propensity for morphing the anytime we're trying to remind someone how a song goes, and then it ends up being perverted into audio.
How Many karaoke? Yes,
exactly.
Don't we have like a couple of episodes that are just karaoke?
Oh yeah. He's that insane. He's edited so many of those together, and sitting and listening to 20 or 30 minutes worth of that.
Oh God.
It's quite the adventure.
It's like being on a bad acid trip. It's something like you'd see on The Simpsons,
Exactly. So, Scott, let's learn a little bit about your own personal musical journey and play around of something I like to call, is that your vinyl answer? And
what an inspired title.
Yes, it really, I have to admit, this one of my better puns. So do you remember, Scott, what the very first record was that you ever went out and bought with your own money?
I actually do, and I still have it.
Oh, you actually answered another question we had coming up. That's outstanding.
Yes, I do have the LP. My first record I bought was an LP. It wasn't a 45. My mom, oddly enough, used to come home with 45s every now and then. And she likes to bring me Elvis 45s. And
so your mom was
like
a big
that.
Elvis fan?
Oh, mom was a big Elvis fan, yes. And my dad was the antithesis of that. I don't know if he... my dad was always a big country guy, and aside from Buddy Rich.
So was your dad was he like a Merle Haggard, George Jones kind of guy? Or?
Oh yeah. He loved all of that stuff. I mean, he's a big Hee Haw fan and everything.
Is Hee Haw on?
Is it on now? No, but yeah, that was my old man. So he didn't like Elvis, and I would watch the Elvis movies with mom on TV and stuff, and dad would just kind of roll his nose at that. Sorry. But no, my very first LP that I purchased was the Osmonds. The Osmonds Crazy Horses LP.
Oh, I did not realize that the Osmonds did an album with Crazy Horse. Was Neil Young involved in the project at all?
No.
Now that
it was called Crazy Horses. Yes, that would be really odd,
It would. Now, is that the one with the one bad apple, don't spoil the whole bunch?
No. Totally different record. This one, the song, the album is called Crazy Horses, and the single off of the album is called Crazy Horses. So it's, double there. But it's like their first foray into hard rock heavy metal. I would say their first and only foray into the hard rock heavy metal. It's a pretty jamming song. But one of the brothers, I read a history on it once, that one of the brothers, he was more into the heavier rock and roll than some of the other guys, because some of the guys were into country, really. They weren't into the pop rock that they were so famous for. But one of the brothers really did like heavier rock and roll, and he wrote this song, and he said, I want to do this, and they're like, are you kidding me? But they went along with it, and they kicked it out, and it was really, it's a pretty good song. It became a single for them, obviously. But it was their later years. I think it was like 70. Oh crap, I can't remember the year that album came out. But that was the first one that I was like, I want to say Sears, I'm in there shopping, and I had my own money, and I found the Osmonds Crazy Horses, and I just went, that looks cool. And
definitely.
I bought it. Yeah. And I still have it. I bought it or played it for a friend of mine the other day. So
is it still in pretty decent condition?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Pretty much every LP I've ever purchased is in pretty good condition. I have some used stuff, that I've bought at the used stores here and there that, I can't control the covers on those. So other people don't treat their stuff the way I do,
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing about some of those 70s teen idol type singers, you mentioned at least one or two of the Osmonds may have been into heavier music. My understanding is that David Cassidy and even Leif Garrett also really kind of gravitated more toward that type of music as well.
Oh yeah, David Cassidy. He was a big Hendrix fan. That was what flew him, and that's what because he made a comeback. Remember back in the 90s, he put out a record.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be his comeback record, and he got, from what I remember, he got a little upset because he wanted it to be more of a rocker, and producers, label, all that were like, no, we can't do that. David Cassidy can't be making a rock and roll record, it's got to be a pop record. And from what I remember, he was pretty bummed that it didn't come out the way he wanted it to.
Yeah.
Because, and I could dig it. I mean, he grew up that time, he was born in the 50s, right? Like 50,
probably
early 50s.
Early 50s, yeah. I want to say very early 50s, but
so he was there to see that stuff start out, and see it morph.
Yeah.
And so I understand it. I understand that that's what he was into. So
yeah, for sure. Now, which Sears was that? Was that Northeast Mall?
Oh, of course. Northeast Mall, man. I mean, I can remember where the records were. They were down by the hardware department, underneath the escalator.
Ah, yes. They always had the hardware and all the lawnmowers and everything down there on that first level below the escalators. That was the Sears.
It's a staple, yes.
Staple, yes. Well, I used to enjoy going to Sears too, not only for the records, but I remember they had like the candy and peanuts section where they would like they had an actual little place where you'd go and they'd almost like a little concession stand or something right there in the middle of the store.
Right. Sears had it all.
They did. They really did. Which band or artist albums make up the largest portion of your collection, Scott? Who do you own the most?
The most I own, it's got to be Neil Young. I have almost everything he put out up until the 90s. I've got everything he put out up into the 90s. And that's when I started buying CDs.
Yeah.
But my vinyl is that. I mean, that and AC/DC and America. those are the top three.
Okay.
You know, America was like one of my first favorite band of all time. And so I started buying up all of their stuff. I think I came in at the greatest hits record, I think.
Yeah.
The first one I bought from them. I mean, I had heard their stuff before, but you know, when that greatest hits came out, it was like, oh wow, look at all this in one package, you know.
Yeah, their hits are very solid, very solid.
Oh yeah.
Now, so the Neil Young, you said you've got all the way through the 90s, so you have Trans.
I do have Trans, yes.
And you have Landing on Water.
I have Landing on Water, yes.
By the way, in my opinion, one of the more underrated albums in his catalog. I love that record.
It is really good. When I went to the tour, the Landing on Water tour, and Neil had this thing. You know, a lot of artists would go out, they put out a record, and then they go out on tour in support of that record.
Yeah.
Neil was always 1 foot ahead or one step ahead. What he would do is he would put out a record, and then he would go out and tour, and basically his tour was pushing the next record.
Oh,
so
he was pre-touring.
He was pre-touring, exactly. So when I saw him for his Landing on Water tour, that's when I think he did his Rusted Out Garage. So it was, you know, it was kind of shocking. It was like, wait a minute, wow, this isn't. No, I take it back. It wasn't Rusted Out Garage. It was Neil Young, Life.
Freedom?
No, not Freedom. I think it was Life. It had, oh gosh, it's all right there in front of me, like 3 feet, but it's dark in here. So I have to go look it up real fast. That's terrible. I don't remember that. But yeah, so he would tour before, or for the tour, the pre-tour for a record. So yeah, but
it's funny that Neil Young and America are two of your biggest acts, because one of my earliest memories as a kid on the radio was getting confused between Heart of Gold and Horse with No Name, and not ever always thinking Neil Young sang Horse with No Name and America sang Heart of Gold, and I could never get it straight when I was like, 5 or 6 or however old I was at the time. So,
it's funny. I was looking up Horse with No Name the other day. I can't remember what it was for, but I was looking it up on the Google, and it's funny that, you know how Google will list the topics, as most popular. And the most popular question was, does Neil Young sing Horse with No Name? It's like, what? But I've had the comparisons drawn between the two of them before by other friends, and to say that they weren't influenced by that a little bit, I think would be, kind of shallow.
America is almost like if Neil Young was Beach Boy-ized in kind of a way, because the harmonies are a little more, that smooth West Coast sound.
Right. Yeah. I agree. I agree completely on that. And actually, if you go back and look at Gary Beckley, who's one of the surviving members of America.
Was he the British guy?
None of them are British. They're all American.
I thought there was one British guy in America. No? Okay.
They were all children of military fathers.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
And they lived in England, on the base out there. And so they were all American kids, hence the name America. But Gary Beckley, he's the one, the glasses, long, straight blonde hair, was always the cute one, or whatever you want to say. But he's done a lot of stuff with Brian Wilson.
Oh,
nice. So he's done a lot of recording with him, and several of the other beachy guys out there. He just put out like a 40-song set, 40-song LP or CD just the other day. So
that's awesome. Now, of those big three, of AC/DC and America and Neil Young,
right?
For each one, what would you say is your favorite album of each of those artists?
Let's see. We'll start at the beginning of the alphabet, AC/DC. I would have to say for AC/DC, it's got to be Highway to Hell.
Great choice. I probably would agree with you on that. I mean, Back in Black's tough to beat, but Highway to Hell really holds up.
It's just a stand-up, in-your-face, heavy rock and roll record. You know, it's got that great blues undertone to all of those songs, but I mean, it's just really it's in your face. It's rock and roll.
Start to finish, not a weak moment or track on the whole record. You
exactly.
Go A to Z and you're good to go.
Exactly. Which, kind of, that's basically the album that broke them. I guess was Highway to Hell. It broke them over here in America, I should say. So, but yeah, that's the strong one there. America. I'd have to say my favorite by them. It's got to be their debut record. It's really stripped down. George Martin isn't producing them yet. It's just America. That's the one that has Horse with No Name on it.
Yeah.
And it's just got a very earthy, true sound to it. And I like all the songs on it. They're kind of a little acid trippy, a few of them. Heck, Horse with No Name is a little acid trippy if you think about it, So I really, really do like that record. For Neil, God, that was tough. But I'd have to say it's his double live, the Rust Tour.
Never Sleeps?
Yeah. Because he put out 2 records for that. He put out the double live Rust Never Sleeps, and then he had another one that was made up of some live and some studio cuts. I think just called Live. No, Live Rust is the big one, and then Rust Never Sleeps was the smaller one, the single LP.
I used to always wonder when I was younger, right around the time that came out or not too long after, if that song, Hey, Hey, My, if that reference is to the Johnny Rotten of the Sex Pistols, or if I didn't have the chronology straight at the time, or if Johnny Rotten took his name from the song. But I think the Sex Pistols were around before that. Yes.
Yes. And it is a reference to the Johnny Rotten. It is. I know that for a fact. So,
and you and I have talked about, Neil Young and the thing with Devo, which was great. The Human Highway.
Right.
Yeah. So that guy, I mean, there's a few artists I think of that really have released music in almost every possible genre and style.
Exactly.
He's one of them. Elvis Costello's one of them. But Neil, he gets real experimental at times. I mean, he's completely fearless about, Trans is a perfect example, right? I mean,
oh man, I have a bootleg recording that I took off the radio. God, I don't know how many years ago, and I want to say it was from the Rusted Out Garage tour. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they played it on King Biscuit Flower Hour or whatever that was back in the day,
King Biscuit Flower Hour.
Yes. And and it was from the Rusted Out Garage. And he does a couple of 2 or 3 songs from Trans on that soundtrack or that live piece. And they are blistering. Oh my gosh. I mean, it takes the computerized sound, but I mean, he turns up the guitar and they really are bumping, man. I used to listen. I burned that thing out on cassette tape like you wouldn't believe. And then finally I transferred it to a CD, and I titled it "Shut Up, Elvis, We're Practicing," because at one point in the concert, his dog is barking, because the whole idea is they're like playing in a garage. It's a garage band, and his dog is barking at him just over and over and over. He's like, "Shut up, Elvis, we're practicing."
Oh, I love it, man. What album, Scott, or title, doesn't necessarily have to be vinyl, this can apply to any format, have you purchased the most over the years? So it could be to replace a broken record, stolen, or just, I wanted the album, I wanted the CD, the cassette, the 8-track, the digital, whatever.
Right, I got you. Okay. Let's see. I've purchased 2 or 3 America LPs a couple of times a piece, because I did wear them out. So I'd go out and I'd buy another one, some Neil Young, Live Rust. I've got it on LP. I've got it on CD. It's I hate to be going back to that over and over again, but that's probably what it is Neil Young at Live Rust. And in fact, when the CD craze started, I refused to buy a CD player until Live Rust came out on CD.
That had to be the first one.
It's like once Live Rust hit, it's like, okay, I got to get a CD player now,
I was the same way in terms of, I had a very specific title I wanted to get for the first CD, and it was only because it was the 8-track that I enjoyed the most, that my dad played when I was a kid. And it isn't even, it's a Rolling Stones compilation. It's called Made in the Shade. And it was like, it had all the best hits from like Sticky Fingers and
I remember that.
Main Street and It's Only Rock and Roll. So it was like their early 70s version of their greatest hits, right? So that was, I don't know why. I was like, why I had to get that CD. Like, why could I not just go get those albums, but yeah, it was kind of a sentimental thing.
I got you. And I know I've got I think Heaven and Hell, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell. I've purchased that.
That's a Dio album.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's Dio's first foray with them. And Hot Sports opinion, I like the Dio better than the Ozzy Osbourne.
I will say that my all-time favorite Black Sabbath song is a Dio song. The Mob Rules is probably my favorite.
Oh,
Black
that's
Sabbath
such
song.
a good record.
Especially, and they used it to really good effect in Heavy Metal, the animated film too.
Right. Yeah. I just listened to that like 3 nights ago.
Awesome.
Mob Rules, exactly, because I'm in a contest on Facebook. I don't know if it's a contest. It's a contest. I'll say it's a plank contest, and so every day you have to do a certain number of minutes of planks. You know what a plank is?
Like it's exercise thing,
the
right?
exercise, yeah. You have to do a certain number of minutes every day, and it goes up 5 seconds every day. And so what I usually do is I try to find a song that has that time frame. So if I've got to do 4 minutes, 15 seconds worth of planks, I try to find a song that's like 4 minutes 15, 4 minutes 20, that I listen to while I'm doing the plank, And I was listening to Mob Rules.
With high adrenaline probably helps too, right?
It's always good, yes.
Pumped up.
Yes.
So this question I'm almost certain I know the answer to, but who among your friends and family, yourself included, has the largest vinyl collection of anyone you know?
Oh, me.
I knew that was going to be the case.
It's me.
What's your number? How many are you up to, Scott?
I'd say 11 to 1,200. It's not big. It's not a big one, but it's bigger than anybody I know in my family and stuff. About 1,200 LPs.
And even the folks that come over for your vinyl parties, nobody's got a bigger collection than that?
No, I don't have a bigger collection than me, which is funny because, the vinyl party, let's talk about that for a second. The vinyl party is a party that we have usually we do it 4 times a year, and different people will host it 4 to 5 times a year. And whoever's hosting will pick a theme. So I think the last time I hosted, my theme for the party was got wood. So that was it. And so and you're trying to pick a theme that can be taken almost any way, so it could be acoustic music,
Could be Ron Wood.
It could be Ron Wood. And that's the way I did, I took acoustic and I did Ron Wood, and I played My Sharona because of the 45 cover. Remember the 45 of My Sharona?
Yes, I do. I absolutely do. It was very cold in that studio that day.
Yeah, so you hit the got wood. But what you do is you have your theme. You pick 5 songs from your collection to go with the theme. And then we go over, we eat, we drink a little bit, and then each person gets up and presents their 5 songs and does a little short soliloquy beforehand. This is why I picked this song. And then we play the song and pass around the LPs and stuff. And I believe I'm probably the only one who hasn't repeated an artist yet,
Excellent.
And because that's kind of like a badge of honor for me is, I want to do something different every time, and I like to bring something out that they've never heard before. I always have to bring out a banger, something that's pretty heavy, at least one of those. But I mean, they're a blast. 2 of my friends, Cindy and Greg, they started doing this with some of their friends, and Cindy was she was my mentor teacher when I was coming up into starting teaching, and she found out I really liked vinyl. She's like, "Hey, we do this party thing. I'm in. Whatever it is, I'm in." And so ever since then, I've been a I don't know, one of the big 3, and we brought in another friend of mine from high school who has a lot of vinyl, but still it's not near mine. He's got more CDs than he does vinyl. But we brought in Mike as well, and we just have a blast. We always try to bring in an outlier. It's like, so we have 4 of us and we bring in somebody else, whoever the host wants. So the last time I hosted, I brought in my son.
Awesome.
And so he came in and he played some songs.
So is he building a collection of his own, or does he just kind of leverage
he
what
is.
you have?
He is building his own. I mean, we go over to Vintage Freak and shop together. And there's a store he found up in Oklahoma called Monkey Beat.
Yeah.
And this guy's great. I've gone to him a few times. Just, I call up Ed at Monkey Beat Records and say, "Hey Ed, I'm looking for this." And he's like, "Yeah, I think I got 3 or 4 of those. Let me go look for a little bit and try to find the best one for you, and I'll call you back." I'm like, "Okay, man."
Now, where is that in Norman? Where in Oklahoma is that?
It's Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City? Okay.
Yeah.
And Vintage Freak, that's over on your side of the Metroplex?
Yeah, it's over in Bedford.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite place to get vinyl right now? Or
it's the closest place to get vinyl, because really, I mean, with all the kudos to them, and I like them and I appreciate what they do. There's a lot of stuff they get it's worn out, but then again, I mean, they're not charging you a lot of premium prices for it.
Right.
You're getting some $3 records and $2 records. There's the occasional $15 or $16 record in there too, but then they'll also have the collector stuff with $50, $60 or something.
Sure.
But I'll go over there sometimes and drop $30 and just see what I can get,
Do you have
get them on Tuesdays? Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you have an all-time favorite record store that you remember from growing up?
My all-time favorite, Sound Warehouse, man. I mean, come on, I spent 7-8 years working there.
That's true.
That's
true.
So, which is kind of odd because around that time, I was buying vinyl, but I didn't buy it as much when I was there because I always had it right there. I didn't feel the need to, I got to bring this home. I could listen to anything I wanted. I bought vinyl when I was a kid, and then I kind of stopped, I guess, around high school. I mean, heck, we were all getting into cassettes back then, and some 8 tracks.
It was all about the car.
Probably when I went off to school.
At that age, music is all about the car. So your albums aren't as useful with the vinyl at that point, you know?
Yeah, the LP at that point was not a big player, but I still did buy some. I still would go out every now and then like, oh, that's really cool. I got to get that. But when I got to college, some of my buddies up there that I hung with were pretty big into buying vinyl, and it just really just got me back into it. And so I would extort money from my parents by selling my books at the end of the semester and then taking all that money and going buying records. And I always like to hit the sales of Sound Warehouse, the midline sales,
That did used to be a jackpot, boy, selling back the textbooks. Boy,
yeah.
That was a nice little infusion of cash back in the day.
No kidding. Right when you needed it too. So
yeah,
Sound Warehouse was awesome. There used to be over in Hearst. I grew up pretty much. I was raised at a bowling alley when I was a kid because both my parents were big bowlers.
Oh.
And my dad at the time, I didn't realize this was odd, but my dad used to moonlight at Hearst Bowl, this bowling alley in Hearst. And he would work as a night manager there on the weekends.
Yeah.
And so there was many a time that it's like, I'm at Hearst Bowl. That's where I'm going to be for the next 6 hours, because that's just where we're going to be. And right across the parking lot was a Peaches.
Oh,
a Peaches records,
Yeah.
And at the time, Peaches and Sound Warehouse were the two that were here. And then eventually Sound Warehouse bought up Peaches and took over their locations. But, I used to love going there and thumb through those records. Oh, yeah. It was so awesome.
I remember Peaches. That was great.
That's where that whole Peach crate came from. The Sound Warehouse crates that you could get.
Yeah.
That was a Peaches thing because they sold them as peach crates or peach crates, And
they're the perfect size.
Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, man. Such great memories.
Oh, it was the best. The best.
Now, Scott, just to let everybody know, if they want to listen to How Many, they can follow us on Twitter, right at How Many Podcast. And
that's right.
We've got a website, howmanypodcast.com.
Yes, and we're on the YouTube.
And I believe, yes, on the YouTube as well. Now, I believe we just this afternoon were discussing recording an upcoming episode, and I think it's going to be music related, something about female rockers, yes?
Ooh, I like that. Yes.
Yeah, so
that's going to be good.
It will be.
I still have two subjects in the bag ready to go. Music subjects for us to do on How Many.
Well, let's do them, man. We need to get them on there. We're ready to roll.
Okay. I'm ready whenever we get the guys together and make this happen again. I mean, let's face it, the COVID has kind of put a kick to the ribs for us,
Oh, yeah. But I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And
yes, I
soon
hope so.
We won't have to have fake beach backdrops. Scott will actually be able to go for real.
It's funny that you got that because I don't know, one of my classes, I'm a school teacher for anyone who's listening and doesn't know. And I do online classes, and I've had my kids before, they've come on and I'll have like 20 or 30 students on the screen and I'll go, okay, everybody change your background to the beach. And I'll just have all these beach scenes on there. It's like, yeah, that's what I like. That's what I like. If you want extra points, that's what you've got to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, man, great to have you on finally. I should have had you on a long time ago because nobody I know has more vinyl and is more of a vinyl head than you. So this perfect opportunity to talk wax with you.
Man, I anytime you want to talk wax, I love dipping into the vinyl. It's odd that since we moved into this new house, I don't know how many years ago, but my wife kind of laid down the law that I can't have my LPs by the stereo, and the stereo is downstairs, and so all my LPs are upstairs in my office.
Oh man!
And I used to do this. I don't know. On the reg, I would come home from work, and I go in and just fire up the stereo, and just sit there and go through my records, I'd pull one out, put it down, drop the needle, and while that one's playing and I've got it cranked, I'd be looking for the next one I'm going to play, And I would do that for like about, 4 or 5 hours, just sit and listen to different things over and over. It was just awesome.
You need to
but
build.
Now I can't do it.
You need to build a vinyl cabana out by the pool. You can have like the whole thing, all your vinyl records, have speakers pointed out to the pool. That'd be awesome.
Oh, I have speakers pointed out to the pool.
I'm
gonna kind of take over for a second. I'm gonna talk about a band. Can I do that?
Oh yeah, you bet.
Okay. Because I love Bend and Scoop. I love when you introduce us to new stuff. I mean, I've heard some things on there that I just said, yeah, I got to go explore that a little bit more.
Really? Awesome.
Yes, I have, definitely. And, and I do appreciate it. And I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you have the time to find all of these bands,
It's hard. And Spotify is a huge cheat code for being able to do that.
Oh, well, that's great. That's great. So what are you listening to on Spotify to find it? I mean, is it just...
Well, what I've discovered is because I have the playlist on Spotify of Bend and Scoop, it's generating a logarithm of other music that's similar to what's on the playlist. And so I've recently found, I can look at these other recommendations and kind of go through those. And I found some stuff that way. So, there's a lot of different avenues. Some of it is, I used to be on this bulletin board, this message board that was kind of indie music focused, and heard of a lot of different artists that way. I've got a couple of friends who are also music podcasters, and I kind of find out some stuff from them that way. So there's various sources, odds and ends. It is difficult to stay on top of it because just the volume, finding time to identify and listen. Like on the drive home today, I was trying to cram in several albums worth, and just kind of skipping through songs until I found one that sounded like it would be good for the podcast, basically,
Right. Oh my! I couldn't imagine trying to thumb through all that, write stuff down.
It does make
however you're doing it.
It does make music a little bit more of a chore than a pleasure these days. I will say.
I got you.
But I still love it. I love it.
Yes. So where I was going with that is that there's a band that I discovered. Well, that makes it sound like I was the first one. I wasn't. But that I heard for the first time. Is that better?
Yeah.
That I heard for the first time about 5 years ago. And I honestly think that these guys are probably the best band that I have heard in the last 10 years. And it's a band called Fat Freddy's Drop.
Fat Freddy's Drop?
And Fat Freddy's Drop, yeah. They're a band out of New Zealand.
Okay.
And it's comprised of a lot of different sound. I mean, it goes everywhere from reggae to R&B to jazz to pop to like house music or electronica. I mean, they employ all of this stuff in their music, and a lot of their tunes are recorded basically on the fly. They come up with them just jamming. And they'll come up with a song and they'll put pieces together and go, oh, this is awesome. They've got a great horn section, sax and trombone and trumpet that they feature actually, which I think is just really awesome. But I heard one of their songs of all places on Jimmy Buffett's station on Sirius one time, heard the song, fell in love with it, came upstairs, immediately went on the internet and looked this up, bought the album, the CD, and now I'm about 6 albums in. I've gone back and purchased back catalog, and they just put out a new one that I need to go get.
Yeah.
But and I introduced them to my wife, and she loves them. And it's kind of funny that everybody I've played this for has just gone, oh, this is awesome. This is great. Except my nieces. I sent them both a copy of one of their albums because back in the day when they were first born, both of them, I started buying them for Christmas. I would buy them an LP every Christmas or CD. And I kind of fell off of it for a while. Actually, for years, I fell off of it. Just got out of the habit. And so this past Christmas, I said, okay, I'm gonna both buy them this LP and send it to them, and they're gonna love it. And they both kind of went, eh. It's like, I was heartbroken.
Oh man.
But you should check them out. It's nothing that you're going to play on your thing, but I think that you'll probably hear some stuff and go,
I'll be the judge of that. I might play them. Matter of fact,
yeah, that's right. You should be the judge.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I try when somebody is on and mentions or recommends a band, or I've even had a couple people on who were in a band, like one guy who, was talking to him. He had a podcast. He's like, oh yeah, I'm in this band too. And I went and listened to their stuff and really liked one of the songs. So I said, why not put it on this episode that he's on, And
awesome.
So yeah, I'll give him a listen. You bet.
Cool, man. Cool.
Well,
all right. Yes, and they're uniquely named from the acid that they all used to drop when they first started jamming together. It's just kind of bizarre. Yeah. So when I like a band, I start looking at their history, Yeah. Do you do that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm always curious about where they're from. And, sometimes I'll find a band and they're great and I love the sound and everything. And then I'll find out, a member of the band used to be in this other band I like, a lot of times there's overlap even,
Right. Yes. All right. Cool, man.
Fantastic, man. It was great fun, Scott. Glad to do it. And thanks for being on with me. Keep me posted when you guys do those vinyl parties in the future. I'm not quite up to having enough probably just yet. I'm still not quite up to about 100, but I'm getting it back to a respectable level. So we'll get there one of these days.
Cool. Well, certainly you'll have 5 songs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You'll have 5 songs you could contribute to the party,
Definitely.
But the key is having the stories to go with them, The stories are always great.
It's the best part.
But yeah, we'll get you there.
All right, my friend. We will talk to you again very soon, buddy.
Cool. All right. I enjoyed it.
I did too, man.
Bye-bye, lardass.
Bend and Scoop is a production of Lukewarm Tallboy Studios.
We will return tomorrow morning with the sun.
Good evening, and have a good life.